I was trying to practice being like a radio DJ the other day when I thought Adam was going to be out.
Yeah.
I was going to be like, hey,
we'll just shock jock.
We got Justin Petty, we got JD Picky and Petty, you know what I'm saying?
What do you have for me this time? Hacking into the stock market, closing down a bank, fixing an election. It's all easy.
Right on.
What a bunch of trash.
Hello and welcome back to the Trash Movie Kings podcast, the podcast where we watch shitty stuff and talk about it. Adam, your normal host, is gone. You have me, Joseph Graham, and joining me this week, we have these two chuckleheads, Apocalypse Howell. How are you?
Good. I've had COVID all week. So hopefully I don't give y'all any DTDs.
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 Digitally transmitted diseases.
Correct.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. Thankfully, we don't do this podcast in person. We don't have a little studio. We don't look professional. And I think that benefits us. I think that's going to come around for us. I think the porn industry has shown that lower quality things thrive. So yeah,
It breeds creativity, really.
so
All right, how fancy of a studio do we need to watch trash movies and discuss them?
I guess maybe we could just do it in a dumpster.
That would be very fitting. Fucking cool.
Also joining me today is Jonathan Dick, JD Karpicki. JD, how are you?
What's up, Jonathan Dick here on the ones and twos. How's it going, everybody?
Lovely good.
I'm not sick. That's just my radio voice. Yeah, I haven't been sick. Everyone around me has been sick. I'm a little worried about, but knock on wood, I have not caught any of the seasonal bullshit that's going around, because it was like 20 yesterday and today it's 70 and then back and forth humidity. It's been really fun.
Yeah, freezing.
Yeah, happy to be back, guys. Like, Boxer's Omen was super fun. Missed you, Apocalypse, but glad we could do this movie. We're not full-sized Trash Movie Kings today. We're just a little bit smaller than normal.
We're pared down.
Pared down for sure. Whether
we are a
shot
6 to 1 ratio of the normal
Yes.
podcast, perhaps. Yes. I guess speaking of little bitty tiny men, tonight
Justin, he didn't make it.
we watched Justin Petty jerk off. No.
Justin Petty in DOLLMAN.
We watched DOLLMAN. Yeah, this is a Charlie Band movie. I read his book a year or two ago now, so this was on the list because of his book, which is actually incredible, where he talks about his career making B movies with, I think he had Empire Pictures, which is like an Italian outfit. I'm sure he made a few movies before that. And then this movie is kind of on the front end of his jaunt with Full Moon, which he still does today. Full Moon Pictures, which makes some incredibly bad films, including Gingerbread Man and what's it, Evil Bong? I think they have like 9 of those or something at this point.
Oh yeah.
He did Trancers, which I think he did under different labels.
Did Trancers 5?
I guess there's 5 Trancers films.
He came back for 5, or he did all 5?
I don't know, but I know he did 1 and 5.
1
Yeah.
and 5.
I think Tim Thomerson, who is in this movie, DOLLMAN, is in Trancers as well as the star. So that's probably the connection there. But yeah, it's a hard-boiled intergalactic policeman lands on Earth, where he is 13 inches tall, according to IMDb.
In
It's
in
kind
a
of-
world where 13 inches is considered small, not a world I'm used to.
Yeah, this movie doesn't make a lot of sex jokes considering what it is. You'd think they would be rampant. I thought they
a lot
would
of missed
be.
opportunities.
Tons. We couldn't help ourselves.
This
but
is a
we
movie-
commented a lot about how it would have been a lot better as a cheesier take on it with someone like our boy Fred Olin Ray. Would have probably knocked us out of the park, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
But what we have here is fairly interesting still. It takes place
Well, Fred-
mostly in
Fred made Cyclone.
Fred did
That
make
was kind of
Cyclone. So
serious-ish.
yeah, that kind of I guess they kind of remind me each other. This is a different period. That's like a late 80s sort of fascination with technology and motorcycles movie. This is a gangster movie, I guess, with a sci-fi element, with a man that is 13 inches tall.
It's a movie for short kings everywhere, which I really identify with. I love that. It's carrying the short king banner, and I think we should celebrate that. The problem is there's no real like agency for anyone in the movie. He just lands here and he's tries to kill some people. They try to kill him. It's not really clear who, like, why any of them want to kill each other, and then it just ends with a montage of actors. I don't mean to step on the plot, but that
is the plot in a nutshell, we'll say. But we did
13-inch nutshell.
we did have Apocalypse Howl do the plot, the 13-inch plot. Apocalypse, you did the plot this week.
Mm-hmm. I did.
How do you feel about
First
it?
time ever.
I normally do the plot, but I'm hosting today, so I'm not doing the plot.
You know,
So you're doing the plot.
I didn't. I don't know. I just kind of recorded what was happening. Kept it simple.
You kept a captain's log.
Yeah, so it's kind of like taking minutes.
Taking minutes.
Yeah, it's
Taking minutes.
my style, and this one is more like I took minutes, but next time I hope to, be able to make it a little more. Now that I'm a little more comfortable, I understand what to write and what not to write. I think next time I would take better synopsis notes.
I would love to dig in on what you mean by taking minutes.
And by dig in, maybe it's that good that we'll come back for seconds.
I'm just taking minutes. I'm just like whenever you're a treasurer.
Oh, you're like, I'm
of a
going to take
group,
these
you're
30
like
minutes.
taking minutes. You're taking notes.
Okay.
But you just record it like this happened, this happened, this happened. There's no character to it.
Okay. Well, let's see what you got.
On another planet, 100,000 light years away, I think, the Aurora movie theater shooter runs from seemingly future police. He's angry with his life. Time cop / Blade Runner vibe. He takes hostages. When Brick Bardo shows up, we are given the notion that Brick is one bad dude. The crazy guy really wants to shoot the fat ladies. Brick just does his laundry. Brick saves the day. The mayor hates Bardo and wants him gone. Bardo goes home only to see on TV that he's being framed as a crazy cop, even though he didn't kill anyone. Apparently, the Fillmore incident was a thing from the past. People come into his home and start blasting. The shooter looks like Neil Breen. He zaps him with some sort of future tech. There's a head floating around on a small drone. Oh, this is bad guy Brick. Has had some run-ins with this guy before.
This
In
is
fact,
this
guy
is
is just
this
a
is a
floating
bad guy Brick has some run-ins with before. That's the sentence.
Please edit all that out. Okay. There's a floating head around on a small drone. Oh, this is a bad guy Brick has had some run-ins with before. There we go. In fact, this guy is just a floating head because Brick has shot off every part of his body event by event, Bardo wins because Sprug gets ahead of himself.
Ahead.
He chases Sprug through space, since they all have spacecraft. He shoots Sprug down, but crashes on what appears to be Earth, New York. Times are tough. There's lots of street violence, a lot of trash. Debbie is introduced as a young woman in New York that's sick of how bad things have gotten. Debbie gets taken, and then they take her where Brick's spaceship landed. He sees what's happening, and he saves her by shooting the bad guys. Well, this is where we learn he's small, hence DOLLMAN. But as small as he is, his attitude is regular size. So are the ballistics of his gun.
Sprug has also crashed, Sprug being the floating head drone. And two bad guys, two gangster guys find him, and they make a deal for a bomb. The bad guys go to Debbie's house, but before they get there, her little brother, maybe it's her son, invites all the neighbors over to see the little small man. As soon as they leave, Braxton, Jackie Earle Haley's character, I believe, shows up with other bad guys. Brick starts shooting them. He kills them all except Braxton. Braxton escapes with a wound, and Sprug, who's back at their lair, ends up healing him. Then Sprug wants to be in charge, and Braxton swats him and crushes Sprug to death. Braxton kidnaps Debbie and starts to beat her up on the street. DOLLMAN jumps out the window and onto her car. He takes her to a destroyed building. Brick is trying to find her. Meanwhile, Braxton's wound is getting bad again. Brick shows up and a battle ensues. It's all a long, dramatic battle where the most typical and predictable things happen. Brick kills everyone, and it's down to Braxton and Brick. Brick drops his gun, and Braxton gets it, reminding me of the tiny
Whopper.
Whopper.
Do you remember those commercials?
Oh, the tiny...
he doesn't want to eat the Whopper because it's got tiny hands.
Reminding Apocalypse here of the tiny Whopper hands commercial. Brick gets his gun back, but Braxton has the micro bomb that the Sprug head guy gave him. And he detonates it, disrupting parsecs in our dimension. It sends Braxton away and leaves Brick to congratulate Debbie. And he says something like,
So, Debbie, tell me size doesn't count.
apparently this is based on a comic book, which I get that. I got that sense almost from the beginning. I was like, this feels very comic booky. It's such like a high concept. Feels like Ant-Man-ish or something, like a, several years down the line, Marvel book or something. But my God, they have trouble with this movie. The pacing in between, just in every scene, just feels really off between people who aren't in the same room while they're trying to film, small people elements with big people elements. This is no Lord of the Rings. Unfortunately, we don't have our big Lord of the Rings fan, Adam, here to discuss how terrible this is comparatively. But yeah, this movie struggles despite having a high concept that I liked a lot and some good acting that I liked a lot.
Yeah, Jackie Earle Haley's killing it. And
Jackie Earle Haley in this movie is different.
I think the tone is cool, like especially so DOLLMAN has this gun that completely obliterates people on his planet. Like it just smashes them, like Ian Holm in Alien. I think it's Aliens that he gets all smashed apart. It's like a head and then a bunch of splats of everything else, like it. But then conveniently, when he goes to Earth, it just sort of acts like a regular gun because he's 6-to-1 ratio and all of that. So there's some cool shit Like some of the floating head guy looks cool, but then when they cut to the wide shot, it's just this like his face that has like really wide eyes, and he's floating, but it doesn't
Yeah.
match the actor. So I don't know. They kind of fumbled on some of those things, but
What's
yeah, and the fact that you brought up the comic book stuff, it's interesting because this is the time. This is like a year after Batman came out. So you've got the copycats, you've got like Darkman, you have, if we forget, the Phantom, and like well, the Phantom wasn't so much that, but
what year
the,
was Darkman? What year was Darkman? Does anyone know? I could look it up.
I think it was pretty close to this. But you remember the movie The Shadow with Alec Baldwin?
Oh yeah.
Like they were trying to get cash right in on that Batman stuff, and it just didn't really, it didn't capture the magic, but everybody was trying to capture that magic. And I don't know if this is another runoff of that, but like it just didn't quite, there wasn't enough. There's also like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids comes out a year before. So they should have had more elements of like these sets that looked bigger. They just didn't have anything. Like all the, even the rocks that he runs past, like kind of look the same as the other characters. So they had a really hard time.
It's a small budget,
making that
very
work.
clearly. I think the biggest thing that they do right is the rebar, because this movie takes place in like
that was very cool.
in rubble most of the time, like of blown out buildings, somewhere in the Bronx, I guess.
Yeah.
The rebar is always big and matches probably what rebar should look like, but the rest of the movie struggles. And every time you see something like him as a doll and it's hilarious looking, those are great. Like I wish the movie would just not worry about its concept being ridiculous and just lean into how silly it is and go with it and like make all the jokes and do all the things. But it has this weird tone to it where they're like, no, we're going to take this movie really seriously, and that will be the humor of it, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe they weren't thinking that at all. Maybe they thought it was like really serious and they were like, let's hide the fact that he's small as much as possible. And I'm like, no, you should have leaned in. You should have done like a little animated doll thing or something, like as much as possible, because it's so funny. But yeah, it has this weird, we brought up like Jacob's Ladder, and I guess Darkman. Is Darkman in New York? It's probably New York, maybe, I think. But
I don't remember. It was 90 though, so it was really close.
Yeah,
like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was 89, Darkman was 90.
Yeah, I wonder if
And
this
Jacob's
album
Ladder, I
almost
don't
they
know,
thought
but
of this as like a parody of Darkman in some ways. A lot of
but they were taking it seriously, like you said.
I don't see it being a parody from their perspective, because
it is not so funny. Seriously.
They're not making the jokes that are so obvious to make. And the pacing is like,
oh, it's molasses at times.
Yeah,
and even in the beginning parts when he's in that showdown with the three bad guys in the rubble on the other planet, Aurora or whatever.
Yeah.
Even the pacing there is like really poor. It's like, who's editing this? They're terrible. And the direction is maybe poor because it's like, it feels like everyone's just in a room doing their own thing and they're trying to make a movie. And I've seen movies do that, but this one's really bad at it.
I don't understand this movie at all, because it's like very serious. Even though nothing about it should be. But I guess that's what, when you're going for that noir vibe, you ruin it by adding the comedy. Because then it turns into Ford Fairlane, you know? You just you want to keep it dry. So I don't know. I think it's a fine line. If you're going to add comedy to a noir, it's a fine line. You can't do it too much. But I think they should have.
Well, and even comedy, like it, I was just looking for something set wise that they could use his size for. Like they almost never, he runs into a rat in like this pipe, which is kind of cool, but all he says is like, don't even think about it. And then the rat runs away. Yeah. So there's not much to that. It's almost, I think they went they really tried to hammer home this like, oh, nobody can survive in the Bronx, and this is just a bad neighborhood, and everybody's against us, and like they tried to do this like to expose like the criminal aspect of everything and some sort of like message, but that didn't really hit home either. And it's an 82-minute movie, so I don't know. They kind of didn't pick a way to go. They just did this.
They had it.
like,
Well,
kinda
the
sci-fi
first of
thing.
all, like the what they were saying, like the rats run towards cheese. He's looking at brick. Brick's not cheese.
Right.
Nothing
Brick's a
cheesy
doll.
about it.
Nothing cheesy. He's a very cool guy.
I'm DOLLMAN.
He's dull, man. He's very cool.
And I think they had
Lots of whispers.
There's no subplot, but they had it. The subplot was there in the beginning whenever he came home and on the news, because he took a situation where there was supposed to be a bloodbath because he showed up, but then there
Yeah.
wasn't a bloodbath. Then he gets home and he finds out, oh wait, they're setting me up. The subplot should have been intergalactic police coming after him on Earth. They should have had a whole secondary set of plot points.
Yeah.
And it's like
And a
they just
secondary
threw them
budget
away.
too, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not enough going on, I guess. I don't know.
And not
Every
even a
scene just
romance between him and
yeah, there's no
her, like-
romance. There's there's like two other plots that should have been happening. A romance plot, and then you're right, like a something back from the Aurora dimension or whatever.
Yeah. And the kid's not in danger, even though like all these people get shot in his apartment.
Yeah,
Like,
and they
there's a
do all
lot of
these
open-ended
they do all these fat
stuff.
kid jokes at the beginning, and it's like
Oh my god, dude.
like way too many fat kid jokes, and then we do nothing with
If
that.
you-
It's like if you're gonna make that many fat people jokes, like you're gonna be that fat phobic, you need to like
Like he should be,
Yeah.
the bad guy should have been crushed by a fat guy at the end.
yes, like there should have been
Yeah,
another
just sat
fat
on
guy.
accidentally. You
And
know?
he should have looked up and seen it coming and been like, oh.
They don't.
And then Brick should have
Yeah.
been like, fat people.
Yeah, like there should have been another
like-
fat guy in the Bronx, and then that way it would have been interesting. You'd be like, fucking fat, you know. Even if it would have been deeply insensitive, I would have probably laughed because
Right.
it'd be like,
Like
fucking fat people, you know. But then the fat, you know, the
yeah,
fat
bad
person's
luck,
like,
fat chance.
Or it ain't over till the fat lady sings.
right, some like stuff
like-
like that.
Yeah, like something could have been done with that. Or just don't
Because
have
it's
it.
funny. I'm glad you brought that up. Because like in the first 10 minutes, they say these lines. They say, like, I'll kill the fat lady. And then the lady they're talking about says, pick on somebody your own size, which is such a weird joke to make fun of yourself to someone else. Like, and then the cop says, I don't want dead fat ladies all over the place.
What the
And then the
fuck?
bad guy says, I'm gonna kill all these fat ladies. And then this kid says something and he says, that's right, fat boy, shut up, fatty. Like they keep, it's like the director's
It's
like,
just nonstop.
But
Yeah, hilarious
do you
fat
think
people.
the symbolism there is
Yeah.
that he's used to being the smaller guy?
I don't think it's
if
that sophisticated,
if it's there, it doesn't work at all.
Like, what if he came from a planet where everybody is morbidly obese except him? He's fit. He takes care of his body.
yeah.
Yeah, this director, Albert Pune, directed some other sci-fi movies. Like he did Cyborg, Nemesis, one of the Nemesis sequels, some B movies, you know, sci-fi movies, but. This one,
How-
he seems lost, and like
How
I
did
get
this
it.
one come out?
How did it come out? I think it was direct to video.
Direct to
This is video. Yeah.
Yeah, when I looked it up on IMDb, when I Google it, it just says DOLLMAN parenthetical video.
So this was like a straight to video.
Oh, it had to have been.
This was in Hollywood Video. This was in latest and greatest. This was on the shelf randomly, months after Michael Keaton's masterful performance as Batman.
Yeah,
And
they were hoping this got placed next to Darkman, I think, on the rack.
And they just wanted you to
problem is it's
actually.
not a good
This is
title.
like the
Yeah.
time I fell for Transmorphers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Well, the thing is, I think it's a great concept. It's
it
just
is
really like, and there's so many weirdly disproportionately good things about it. Like the concept is good
Yeah.
and funny, but they don't do a good and funny movie. But then
Yeah.
the movie is interesting looking and has like things that it thinks it like I think it wants to say, but then doesn't say anything. And then it has this look about it that's like this early 90s grunge kind of, we were talking about Jacob's Ladder a lot, where it's very, very dramatic and like disturbing and scary, but then it's not disturbing and scary. It like takes all these elements of things and tries to put them together, and it doesn't work at all. And it's very disappointing. And in the middle of that, you also have Jackie Earle Haley, who's like in his own fucking movie that's like like every time
Crushing it.
I was talking about it, I was like, I swear to God, like every time they cut to this motherfucker, it's a different movie. Like when they're on a close-up of him, which this movie has no wide shots because this one guy is supposed to be small and they just avoid doing any of that. So you get a lot of people being in their own movie. Basically everybody's in their own movie trying to do something, and it's all failing miserably.
yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, the first time we see Jack Earle Haley, it was just really weird, is like these three guys. First of all, there's a montage of like how shitty New York is, which is great. It's like there's some
it's
trash
so
over
long.
there, there's graffiti.
This is like, here's
over there.
garbage, more garbage. Here's some oil on the street.
There's a house made of garbage. Like,
There's a
and
homeless
so
guy
these
with a
three
bag
guys
on his head.
Yeah, he's got garbage on his head. He's looking through garbage, trying to eat garbage. It's garbage. And
like that would be
so
that would be
these three guys-
Freddo and Ray movies. The people would be literally
Yeah.
eating garbage, and it'd be great. But
They would.
So if I would,
And,
if
like,
I would have, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Oh no! Well, all I was gonna say is like these three guys like rob like a bodega or something. They shoot this guy and then they leave, drive away, and Jackie Earle Haley pulls up and he gets out of his car and he shoots him and he says, "You guys are in the wrong place or the wrong neighborhood, bad neighborhood," and he shoots them all. So you think like, is he an undercover cop? Is like, no, he's just a piece of shit. Like, so you don't really. All he says is bad neighborhood,
and there's no
over and over again.
They even bring in like the they bring like was it like a police chief or mayor or something when once you
And
get
he's like,
to
we're definitely gonna try.
Oh yeah, that guy.
you have like a community watch
Police
element, and none of that really goes much of anywhere. Like even they try to tie in the concept that DOLLMAN comes in to like clean up the neighborhood, but they don't do anything with it. Like could have had a scene with DOLLMAN and the mayor, and he's talking shit. He's like just him presenting himself as a hero of sorts, being like, "Look, you got to like, you can be a shithead and you can go play golf, but you got to fucking do like the work. You got to actually do things if you're going to be a leader."
Or if he was hiding in the police chief's office, like behind a coffee cup that's like, you know what I mean? They didn't do anything with like little,
right.
Like it would have been interesting if she was trying to introduce him to the police chief and the police chief is like, "No, we can't do this." And she just can't quite introduce him because it keeps like there's not a good opportunity and he's hiding behind the pencils or something.
Yeah,
like
that would have been funny.
It doesn't have to be goofy, but good. Like it would just be an interesting scene. I don't know.
This movie is listed as a comedy, which I don't know.
Oh, shit.
Like I don't like the comedy is really subtle if that's the case. It's action comedy sci-fi, which it should be. But unfortunately it's just
it should have been. It I think they ran out of money.
Yes.
Or time or ambition.
Both, probably all of the above.
Because if I had infinite budget in this material on deck, I would have it to where the space police come chasing him was Sprug gets the detonator device. Meanwhile, the police or Sprug gets the detonator device, the Parsec dimensional splitting device to Braxton, and then the time police, the time cops come to get him, but they have a different device that warps you back to your specific place. So it's not dimensional, it's just it just zaps you back to your planet.
Yeah, there's just so much
I would
more
have had
going
them
on.
come to a head, because I think he could have inspired the younger people that just because you're small doesn't mean you can't accomplish something big in your neighborhood, the Bronx. It's falling
There
apart.
you go.
Right, there could have been like a
You
lot of
got an
thematic
uprising of
things going
kids at
on.
the end to thwart the
Yeah.
plan, and then the two detonators go off at the same time at the end, sending Braxton with the
The little
time
kid.
police back to the planet. So Braxton's gone and getting punished by cops because they had to battle with Braxton too while they were here. Meanwhile, Brick hits the Parsec bomb and winds up
When he's stuck
disappearing.
there.
And the question is, where is he going? And then he wakes up on a planet where he's now a giant. And you can follow
Yeah.
Bricks on his next big adventure.
Yeah. Big
And-
adventure.
Yeah. And so I just think they ran out of time, money, and ambition. And then we're like, just
Yeah.
release
And
the
even that-
video.
I think they were doing
I
this
mean, that
movie at
seems
the
like a
same
big
time as another
idea.
movie. I think I saw that
Oh, yeah.
somewhere.
This is a
on
very
Wikipedia.
ambitious plot or
It's
movie.
way too ambitious for what they were, the amount of effort they were willing to
Yeah.
put in. Unfortunately, there is such a good movie
I agree.
in the mix here, but it's just not that. It just
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
And an even lower budget version of what you described could be, instead of like involving the galactic police or anything, just a simple, like if Brick, I already forgot who's who, but Brick
Braxton.
is the good guy, right?
Yeah.
So Brick is trying, let's say he figures out how to leave, and then he sees that she's raising her kid and they have problems and they're going to stay in that neighborhood because they made this whole thing about she's not going to leave no matter what other opportunities she had. She doesn't have enough money and this is her home and blah blah blah. If like Brick just was torn about like helping them, and he had a way to get back, like that would be interesting because he made a choice to stay and help Debbie. But they don't even do that. He's just like, well, I guess I'll kill him and then I'll wave to her at the end and then we'll do credits. Like there wasn't any sort of conflict really. Yeah.
Like, okay, so a tagline that they decided to use for this is 13 inches with an attitude. And then
That's
they
terrible.
just do no dick jokes. It's supposed to be a dick joke.
There's no reference. Yeah.
There's
That's
no
even-
mention of a penis in this movie.
You know what would have been a great line was like it would have been if her friend was, if she had a girlfriend and her girlfriend was like, look at him, he's so small, and she goes, he's 13 inches. Some might even say that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, they did nothing.
There's just
How
so
dare
many
they call this a
dick jokes.
comedy?
How dare they?
Yes, it was supposed to have been a comedy. It was not.
Well, and what's really confounding to me is as the newest member of the Trash Movie Kings,
Who's been here almost
For
this-
2 years.
pretty much, yeah. So new-ish, but like this had some really fun B movie energy at the beginning. Like this guy, this floating head that looks kind of weird. There's people exploding from these little like laser bullets,
they
and he's
giant
saying
explode.
like, yeah, he had some cool fucking lines. Like this guy, these two guys have sunglasses. You can't even tell who is good and who's bad at the beginning, but it's Brick and then this police guy. But they're like whispering at each other really close, and he's like, "What are you gonna do, Brick?" And he's like, "I don't know, hots for my whites and cold rinse for my colors." Like, what do you mean? And he goes, "I'm gonna do my laundry." You know, and there's like weird,
Right,
and then
there's
somebody says,
something
"Take your
there.
sunglasses off. It's night." You know, like
Yeah.
there's cool.
It's very funny
shit in that.
at the beginning. It still seems a little odd, but you're like, oh, this is gonna be kind of funny. And then they just
Yeah.
bury that, and they just like just move forward and without giving a shit about. Like, it's almost like they forgot what they were doing. It's
Now
very
I want to
strange.
remake this movie.
I
think
know
this
it's
would be
such a
really
good
fun.
concept, and I feel so bad for it.
Mhm.
I don't think
Yeah.
as much as I read that Charles Band book, and I was like pretty enamored with his ability to get movies made, and he did the Puppet Master movies and a handful of other things that
Oh,
people would know.
that's what the demonic toys is, because they also Puppet
Yeah,
Master
the
also
demonic
fights the
toys or
demonic
whatever.
toys.
Yeah, I guess they made
Huh.
a sequel to this that crossed over when Tim Thomerson was still alive.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I've already done that a couple times on this pod. Apologize already.
I would
But
love you to cut me off.
speaking of Puppet Master,
What the
I
fuck?
happen to have this.
You have
I know this is
the
my
Blade
DOLLMAN.
character? Oh wow.
Dude, I got this for free like ages ago in this eBay. It just came with something that I bought,
That's
and this is
amazing.
DOLLMAN. He's about 13 inches. So there you go. And he's still sealed in the box, even though the box looks like shit.
This is DOLLMAN.
But there's
So I
the
guess-
tie-in.
I guess Puppet Master was 1989, and then maybe Demonic Toys is before that. So he was just on a roll of like little guys.
Little guys.
And
Yeah.
I think he mentions that in his book. He's just like, I don't know. I just started making. I mean, and he also made the Gingerbread Man with Gary Busey.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's the whole thing. We haven't. I mean, I've seen that a bunch of times, and I don't know if we should watch it on the
Gingerbread
podcast,
Man.
but it is great. Fucking terrible.
Yeah. What is it about? I really don't know. I've heard the name, but I don't know what it's about.
Gary Busey. He's a insane murderer, and he gets killed at the beginning at a diner or something in this town, and then somehow or another his ashes or something get put into the dough that they're making gingerbread for Christmas at this bakery, and then he becomes the gingerbread man incarnate, an evil little fucker.
Does he say like?
Oh, he
"Not
says a
my
lot of
gumdrop
things.
buttons."
Oh, he says all the dumbest things. That's what's surprising about this movie, and kind of maybe a lot of Charlie Band movies, is that okay, so he does do a lot of the dumb jokes and stuff and some other different movies that Charles Band does, but this one he does not. And
There was a throwaway.
They ran out of time or money.
and generally he doesn't do like as many sex jokes as are available. And I've heard this man on podcasts, and he is a horny old bastard. You'd think you would just be.
Well, this is a hard R. There's F-bombs everywhere.
Oh God,
in this
yeah.
movie.
There's like bodies exploding, and they say "fuck" every other fucking line because they don't know how to write gangster dialogue.
This could have been a mini series.
Oh God.
Like if you were to take the whole,
I thought that was a joke. I'm sorry.
if you could have flushed out
How many was the series? About 13
plot
inches?
and added in
about
the
13.
subplots that he started to write and then just didn't follow through with, it would have had to have been a 4-hour movie.
Yeah.
It would have had it.
Well,
That's why I think it was too
Yeah.
ambitious of a story. And then at a certain point, when you know you got to get it out on video and you got a deadline, you're like, screw it, cut the romance, cut the subplot. Let's just roll with this and that. And then they're like, hey, let's write in these jokes, and you're like, I don't even care anymore. Just
Yeah.
get it done. And
Like I said, I think they were shooting this at the same time as another movie, so maybe it was just like, fucking whatever you guys want to do. And they tried their best. But let's boil it down and let's get down to the bees.
The bees, the bees, the bees.
I'll do that later.
we had barrels.
Cool. Cut me out.
Yeah, barrels were towards the end. Let's start from the beginning. I got big boys from the little fat boys. We got blasters. We got bandanas.
No blades.
Bullets. We got the Bronx as a setting.
Ah, nice.
We got trash on trash on trash.
Bags on bags on bags.
Yeah, I don't know if there were definitely probably bags of trash in here, but just trash everywhere.
Oh, on that guy's
We did
head,
have
too.
blades. There was definitely a blade.
Where was there a blade?
Some of the homeboys got some blades in the Bronx. For show, I wrote it down. I saw it with my eyes. Then we got like a mini transistor bomb, big bomb. We do have one singular blonde babe in this, and she does that. She has nothing to do. She's just kind of eye candy in a couple of scenes.
Yep.
But she is blonde and she's a babe. Blood.
Yeah, we have blood.
A lot of blood, specifically on a pool
Would
table.
you call that
at
a
one
bar
point.
they were in with the pool table? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was a. But there's no brawl in
Like
the
their
in the
hideout.
bar, so what's the
No.
point?
True.
Barrels, burning barrels. Those are always.
Oh, we had a guy
fun.
through glass.
Did we
little
have a guy through glass? Did
Yeah,
he
when
get
he
thrown
jumped through the
glass?
window. He jumped through it. I don't know if that's the same, but he jumped through that window and onto the car. That was through a window
Yeah.
for sure.
No, we have blasts, like big blasts. We have like car explosions. And I did see some red lights when he's in his.
I didn't see any blue lights.
I did not
saw
see any
red-
blue
I
lights.
saw red lights.
Curiously,
No.
but there are red
It was
lights.
just dark
lighting
all the
him.
time.
So
couldn't
dark.
even
This
afford blue
movie's
lights.
very, very dark. But I was commenting that at least it doesn't look like a fucking Netflix movie. Like the darks look appropriately dark, and you can see stuff still kind of, and the highlights are strong. David S. Goyer was a writer on this movie.
What? That's crazy.
Who's known for The Dark Knight. Interesting that he must have been a little bit of a baby doing this movie. How weird.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like Jackie Earle Haley, baby.
Yeah. So those are the bees. I don't know if you guys have any more. That was about it.
I can't think of any more.
I mean, Tim Thompson or whatever was a badass, but that's not a B. He just was classic, like Harrison Ford, crotchety guy. It's pretty cool. Bar Kamari, is that a B? Just kidding. I have no jokes.
Rebar.
Rebar? No,
I
I
did
don't
like
know.
the rebar in this movie.
weren't.
I like the rebar.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That was
But,
like the only.
Yeah, that was kind of it. Not a lot of
Yeah.
B's. I mean,
I'm gonna pee really fast, and then we'll do favorite parts. Sorry. 1 sec.
yeah, yeah, man. I'm really excited about what this movie could have been.
I know it could have been so great.
Like it's because there were some cool lines. I'll bring it up when we come back. But like when he said, like, you haven't seen the last of me, and he goes, no, I have seen the last of you. Like right here, like there's some really funny, like the fact that they called out those guys for wearing sunglasses at night.
Yeah.
And then like all of the villain dialogue of the head, and they're like, "Oh, fuck you." They said like, "What do you want, a new hat or something?" Like there was some really
there's no
funny shit.
point. There's 0 point in the setup, the amount of setup
Right.
from his home planet. There's no point in all of that if you're not going to go back to it.
Yeah.
From a writing standpoint, the screenplay completely failed.
Well, right. It's the classic, like, not Pocahontas, but like, is the guy going to stay or leave? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to stay and help, or are you going to go back to what you like, to what you're like, there's not even a conflict with him going back
Right.
to his planet, which could have been the easiest thing for them to just put in the dialogue. They didn't have to actually go back. I think they missed out on that. Anyway.
Right.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Just me.
Ritzed.
Show me your Riz. No. Yeah. So that's the bees, and I guess, does anybody have any favorite parts for this medium?
I like it.
movie.
My favorite part was whenever during the first shootout, when that guy got hit and his body just exploded.
Oh shit.
Oh.
He's Iron Man?
You tell me.
Whoa!
Fuck yeah.
Everything just exploded, and I just did not see that coming at all.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
my favorite part.
I
It's
wrote
that
blown up bodies. Yeah.
It set a tone
Yeah.
that didn't exactly stick around, but
Could have been a 5-bagger after that scene.
It was
I was
still
like,
pretty cool.
You know,
This movie had so
good
much
start.
potential. It's so disappointing. It's not as disappointing as some other films we watch because it never really got up to speed. I feel like it was just like, come on, do the movie that's here, and they just never did it. But yeah, blown up bodies at the beginning definitely a highlight. JD, anything?
Yeah, I think my favorite part is probably the only really good use of him being 13 inches is he sees a car, the car is about to get away, the bad guys are about to get away, so he jumps out of this window and somehow latches onto the door of the car. It's just so fucking beautiful. If you're not on Spotify or YouTube, go now and check out this scene.
Kevin, get out of the way!
Oh my god, is he? Oh, I thought he was gonna.
Does he jump out of the window? And he's opening his glasses.
Oh yes. He jumped across the street and landed on the car. So yeah, that was really cool. I just thought that was hilarious because there's a scene of the car driving by and this doll is just hanging on it, like with this giant cape and or
It was like-
jacket. It's great.
We mentioned it before, but they were so afraid of those moments, and we were just like, "Yes, that's the movie. That's the movie right there. Do that the whole time.
Yeah.
Why the fuck aren't you doing
and I was
that the whole
thinking-
time?" I'm so mad.
They
I
make
was so
fun of
mad
the
at that.
head guy. They make fun of the head guy so well, and maybe this is the Goyer part of the script, but like when they said like he's like, "You haven't seen the last of me," and he's like, "Yeah, I did. I'm looking at it, right? Like I am seeing the last of you." Like that was great. And then when the head is talking to Jackie Earle Haley, and he tells him like, "I've got this bomb. Here's the plan. I'll give you this bomb, and I'll help you kill this guy or whatever." And he says, "What do you want, a new hat or something?" Like there's nothing else to give this guy. It's just there were really funny parts about like quit while you're ahead. Like there were some cool things with the little head guy, but they didn't apply that to any other part of the movie. So I wouldn't call this a comedy at all.
Yeah, they play it.
That's
way
kind of
too
all my
straight,
favorite
way too straight.
part. There was really something really funny that Apocalypse said. There was people selling drugs, and this is when the neighborhood watch element comes up because Debbie is introduced, and we can't tell if she works for the police station or police department or not, but she's like going around telling people like, "Get the fuck out of here, stop selling drugs," and blah blah blah. And somebody said, "Don't be selling that shit in my neighborhood." And then Apocalypse said, "He's selling literal trash." Like as if, and I just thought that would be really funny if they were like selling trash like it's drugs.
It would have been our movie, man. There was so much potential in this movie wasted.
Yeah.
We kind of brushed on it, like the squishing the little guy's head was a good effect scene. I thought that was fun.
You do what I say.
Work for you?
Oh shit!
Oh, is he dead? Oh, he's dead. That was it.
You're in the wrong fucking neighborhood, deadhead.
Okay, because he's
all he
ahead and he's dead.
Yeah, deadhead.
Aside from that, I guess the broken or like the clearly not Spanish speaking woman on the bus.
Alejandro. Ah, señor Rodriguez, ¿qué tal? Bien, oiga, I heard about this DOLLMAN that he blew away Braxton Red's homies last night. ¿Es cierto?
Yeah, it's true.
Oiga, ¿y cuándo es el next meeting del Neighborhood Watch?
Thursday, 7:30 at the cafeteria.
I'll be there.
Really?
See?
Vivian, you know we can make a difference. We can change this neighborhood.
Especially with this dollman blowing away all the scumbags for us, eh?
That girl seems white as fuck. It's terrible. Loved her. And then I guess the Dollman track at the end, which was kind of fun. It was just like Dollman.
It was the Ferris Bueller's last scene song. Ow. A doll man. And did you hear that they like sneakily snuck in? I don't know if this was meant to be or not, but I think Haley says at one point, "You think they care about Dalton?" And it's like Doll Town. Is that what they're saying?
Right.
But it wasn't played for a laugh, so I couldn't tell. But that's pretty funny. Oh,
what would that be a reference to? Dalton?
Well, Doll Town. Like it's like a small. It's like I don't know.
Gotcha.
It might have just been Dalton, but I don't know.
There were some kind of funny lines in here, but god damn if Jackie Earle Haley doesn't read them as if he's in a real fucking movie the whole time. So it's like I just was confused.
You said it best, Joey. You said I like it. It's just not good. That made me laugh a lot. Like I like it. It's just not.
I like this movie. It's just really not good. Unfortunately, that is a lot of middling movies that we watch on the Trash Movie Kings podcast. There was a line where Jackie Earle Haley, what's this fucking so hard to say? Where he says, "So the fuck what? We got an interdimensional bomb."
So the fuck what? We got a dimensional bomb. We'll settle this fucker once and for all.
Right.
I really liked. Out of context, that's probably
the head
funnier.
guy. Well, the head guy cures him, and then he just squishes him, and then he starts bleeding again. He's like, "Oh shit! I shouldn't have killed him yet." Like it's so dumb.
And they never explain why he's bleeding, which I guess he wouldn't have known. Doesn't really matter. It's just a fucking dumb movie. God damn, it's so dumb.
Yeah, missed opportunities left and right.
Yeah, I mean, the main takeaway from this is like, oh, people didn't know how to make green screen movies, essentially. At this point in
91
in indie film, I guess you would say.
It wasn't until Robert Rodriguez really.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure other people have pulled it off, but they did not know how to do it. They were just confused. It's like you see movies like this all the time where they, people are talking to other people and they're not in the same room clearly. But these days they do a really good job. They probably record one actor doing it and they're like, respond to him kind of thing because he's the stronger actor. And it works pretty well, but this movie is just all over the place. Specifically, our lead guy just seems lost. It's like weird to pick him to be your main guy for this movie, and then he has no fucking clue what to do. Tim Thomerson, what's his name? Brada or Brick? Yeah, he's way out of his league here. Or not out of his league per se. It's just like he clearly has never done this kind of thing before, and he just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, unfortunately. But let's move on to some ratings. Apocalypse, what do you think?
Hey, so
you rated it first last time too.
There was not enough Kennergy in this Dollman movie for me.
We didn't touch on the Barbie movie at all.
I must say he
Kenner, like the action figures. That's a great reference too. Anyway,
I'm gonna go with 2.75.
Would have made sense for us to talk about Barbie at the beginning of this, wouldn't it have?
That's true. Yeah.
Sorry to run over
Barbie, just like everybody else.
Your sorry, I ran over your 2.5.
I'm gonna go 2.75.
2.75. Yeah,
because I can't give it a 3 because 3 is too solid of a rating. 2.75. There were so many problems with the story. And it's not problems with the story they had. It's problems with the things in the story they didn't have. So I'm not like finding plot holes. I'm finding massive things that could have been in the plot. And that's where it failed. The movie was made well. Like you said, the editing was crap, but it was still shot well. It was still Jackie Earle Haley is already up for an award.
No, he's ready. Watching this, I'm surprised no one picked him no one saw this movie and was like, damn, he could probably do like a real movie and he would be pretty good.
Yeah.
He's shocked that it
Trash
took
Movie Kings Award.
It was like 20 years later almost. Well, maybe like 15, but like people started realizing Jackie Earle Haley had some chops. It's unbelievable. I felt bad.
He's in some other movies though.
He's in a lot, but it's still unfortunate that he doesn't get the recognition that this performance alone should have got him.
Yeah. He's just like digging.
So my hat's off to him. I definitely think he's going to be in nominations this year. Now we got a whole year to get.
Oh, he's in the Retirement Plan with Nicolas Cage, that new movie. So he's been in. I don't know. We were asking like what's he been in lately, but.
Oh, okay, good. It's good that he's doing something. I'm glad he's still working. I mentioned he was a producer at one of my first jobs in San Antonio, of all fucking places. So I think he's from Texas. I know he's in the Bad News Bears, and those movies have Houston ties. I don't know how he ended up in San Antonio working at my job that I had out of college, but he was there at some point. Kudos to him. Thanks for this performance. It was certainly interesting to watch him be in his own movie and deliver an amazing performance for a movie that didn't exist, but pretty cool. So a 2.75 from Apocalypse. JD, what do you got?
I just looked up the average size of an action figure and it's 3.75, but I don't even want to give it that. I was going to try to be cute and do that, but
that would be egregious.
That'd be a little high, maybe. A little tiny bit high.
Yeah, I'm thinking I want to give it like a oh gosh.
A 2.75?
Well, what if we all just do that?
I'm kind of thinking that.
We've never had a unanimous.
A unanimous
3 is
0.75?
3 is right on the edge, right?
Yeah.
And the potential is a 3.5 or a 4, but they don't hit it. So I'm gonna go 2.75 as well. It had some great, I mean, we didn't touch on the scene. I'm sorry. I gotta mention this because the only time they really show something that's like small or big or, the wrong size is at the end when he drops his gun and he's like, oh no, my gun.
Oh my God.
Jack Earle Haley picks it up and it's like the noisy cricket from Men in Black. And he's like, you suck on this.
I thought they were going to do a great joke about how he couldn't fit his finger into the trigger.
But then all of a sudden,
like they treated
the
so
gun
seriously.
back.
It's so serious.
Slowly.
Do you think that maybe because Jackie Earle Haley was taking it so seriously that it affected the rest of the production? Like I feel like that's
right. Like the producers were like, guys,
that's possible. Like they were like, holy shit, this guy's fucking on fire. Like, how do we direct something
to make something?
We gotta take all the jokes out because this guy's to make it make sense with what this guy's doing. No, like I know we hired the best actor, but like, fuck, he's changing the course of this whole movie.
He was the you want to get nuts, let's get nuts all the time. That wouldn't
surprise me. 2.75. And I was thinking about a 3 or so. But then when you said 2.75, I was like, that makes a lot of fucking sense, actually.
Yeah.
So
It's
and
a
I
3
never
that
and I
falls
never give
short.
it I never give a 3/4 of a number, but for this,
Yeah, but
makes
you're
a lot of
dealing in
sense.
parsecs tonight,
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
which is roughly like 3 and then some change light years. If you didn't
So
know.
3 parsecs is 2.75 bags of trash. That's the conversion rate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll also
it
give
is.
it a 2.75. So a unanimous 2.75. Very clean,
Mhm. Yeah.
not clean number.
I call it 2 full bags and then a sack of pus is what he calls it.
Oh, they call it. Yeah, he calls the guy
yeah.
a sack of puss at one point, which is
Sack of-
great.
That's pretty gnarly.
Ugh, God, I wish this movie had been better. I'm sorry, I was looking for a ninja movie and I couldn't find it anywhere that we really
I'm happy
probably
I
should have
watched this.
watched. Because I was going to be like, in January, but just one. But
Just one.
we failed at
I
that.
forgot all about it.
We've skipped Nin January this year, and we did a Charlie Band movie and a Hong Kong weird movie. And you know what? Fuck Nin January. We don't need it. So Dollman, an average of, let me do a little calculation. Hold on, let me pull up my calculator on my phone. Sorry.
Make sure to record it. Yeah.
Yeah, just let me make sure I get it right. 2.75. Oh, it's 2.75. 2.75 from the Trash Movie Kings for Dollman. So slightly
I doubt
above the very, very middle of our 5-bag rating system. So
Wow.
I feel like that's probably what they felt they had when they finished this movie. I bet they were disappointed because I think they probably watched this and were like, fuck, can't go back and fix it now.
Yeah.
But my God, we had a good idea. Maybe we should do a sequel and we'll throw in some other fucking little doll people. That'll be good. Maybe we'll watch
it's like Boarding House
the
where there's a 3-hour version.
Oh God, yeah, I have Boarding House on Blu-ray now, so I need to jump into that at some point. But yeah, wrapping up in January, in which we watched no ninja movies. But thank you for watching and listening to the Trash Movie Kings podcast. If you would follow us on all the social media things we post every now and then when we do a show, that would be great. On Instagram, we are Trash Movie Kings. On Twitter, we are Trash Movie Kings. On Facebook, we have an interesting group that no one posts on, but I do occasionally. Follow that or join in that. I don't give a shit. Whatever. Dollman 2.75. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Nerds. Yeah.